All right, we'll start over here with Steven.
Julian, how's the ankle? And can you what happened on that play?
Yeah, just ended up stepping on it a little bit weird, but I'm feeling good now. Not too bad, so just stepped on it a little bit weird.
And right next door, Dylan Davis.
Did it affect any way, like with your feet moving forward on that, like maybe how you were able to step into throws at that point? It was your left foot, correct?
Yeah, I don't think it did. No, I was able to be able to step into all my throws with power, and I had a couple misses tonight, and just mechanically it wasn't super perfect with those, but just was able to step into all my throws.
Island and Bryson and those guys, maybe guys that you don't have a lot of work with. So what would you think about your chemistry with those guys tonight?
Yeah, I think those young guys stepped up in a big way, and they did a really good job. They were able to go make some plays on the outside. Mylan had that big catch on the glance, and then those guys made some great plays for us.
Over to the left, Bill Landis.
Julian, the throw at the end of the half to Brandon that you guys weren't able to connect on looked like Coach Day had some thoughts on that when he came back to the sideline. Just what was that conversation? What did you see on that play? What was he hoping to see on that play?
Yeah, he was he was talking about a check that we have, and I didn't end up checking that one, so I was a little bit off with Brandon. I gotta be better and get his eyes, and let him kind of see the ball in the air. I threw it a little bit too early, so I gotta be a little bit better there, and try to get his touchdown before the half.
And right here in the front row, Jeff Gilbert.
Julian, what is your assessment of the running backs tonight and even over the last couple of weeks? And do you feel like we're starting to see their talent emerge?
I think they're growing each week, and I think we had, 200 rushing yards tonight, and they all ran really hard and did a really good job. James, watching him hurdle that guy, it was awesome to see. I'm close with James, and it was awesome to see. And, I think those guys do a really good job, and, they've been challenged to run angry and run tough, and they do a really good job of that, and I think they show that tonight.
Front row, Bill Rabinowitz.
Julian, when you know that Carnell's not going to play and Jeremiah is questionable, how does that change? If it does, your mindset, do you feel any different? I mean, obviously those guys are elite receivers.
I don't think it changes my mindset. I have a lot of trust in the younger guys that we have on this in this receiver room, and they do a really good job. And we've practiced with those guys, and they show up in practice and they make great plays. So I think we just have a lot of trust in them, and we don't change our mindset. And it's next man up.
Right next door.
Hey, Julian, congrats on the win. How have you evolved? How have you seen yourself evolve? Obviously, the first half you guys were able to spread the ball around, but doing that the entire season, how have you been able to see yourself evolve, and especially as you go into these last 2 weeks, which is going to really be a grind?
Yeah, I think just getting more comfortable in the offense, and I think we're doing some different things tonight, spreading the ball around, playing with tempo, playing with quick game, and I think it was a good thing for us.
Over here, Joe Reedy.
Julian, how good was it just with this game, kind of to see the depth of the offense with as many guys who got the ball running, but also just with the receiving game too?
Yeah, I think the running backs did a really good job, and we showed a lot of depth there, and the receiver room looked good tonight. I mean, those younger guys really stepped up for us big, and whether they were blocking or making big time catches to convert on third down or fourth down, I think it was just it was awesome to see their work paying off.
Do a couple more over here, Joey. Go ahead.
Julian, in a game like this, do you miss having Carnell and Jeremiah, or do you like maybe getting to work with some other guys as well and kind of building depth and chemistry with the rest of that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Those two, Carnell and Jeremiah, are special players. So they're elite receivers, and but we have a good receiver room, and those young guys stepped up tonight.
All right, two more quick ones. Brendan first.
Julian, you're 10 games in. I'm curious, as you've worked on a lot of your game, where are you trying to get better? Where can you be better right now?
I think all around I can be better. I can be, getting through my reads quicker, helping us out in protection a little better, just being helping us out in the run game more. I think, all around I'm just trying to improve and keep growing my game to the next level.
And then the final question over here, Dylan.
Julian, Brandon Innis, for all of his talent, maybe gets kind of overlooked when you have Jeremiah and Carnell. For him to have a chance to be a featured guy in this offense today, I guess, how good does that feel for you to be able to help him get that? And I guess, what does Brandon Innis mean to your locker room, even though he maybe gets overlooked sometimes?
Yeah, Brandon Innis is a captain for us, and he shows up every day. So, we know when we get, we had a play designed for him today. We got a certain coverage, and I know he's going to win. And I have a lot of faith in him. And he made a great catch on that. I think it was third or fourth down. And then they had another fourth down conversion. So I think this whole offense is a ton of belief and faith in him. And he's a captain, he's a leader for us, and he brings a lot of juice to the offense.
Julian, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.